Mike, this is Will, we are the Tabletop Donkeys.
Hello.
We're bringing you issue 75 Warhammer 40,000 Conquest today, and this issue we got the first part of the repulsor tank for the Space Marines, the first of 4 parts. As always, if you want to skip straight to the battle report, there'll be a time code in the description. But heading into the issue, first up we have some background on the repulsor tank itself. So it's an all-terrain transport, obviously since it's grav. It can hold 10 Space Marines, but only Primaris Marines. And you can see that it has all of the guns. More background of them here. We've got a little bit on the Repulsor Executioner, which is the sort of, has an extra big gun in the turret, but reduced carrying capacity. And then going over the many weapons the Repulsor carries. Various grenade launchers and Gatling cannons and las cannons and things. And more detail on each one here. And here we've got some background of the Iron Hands, of the various conflicts they've been part of, like the Damocles Crusade against the Tau, defending their homeworld from chaos. And here we have the Invicta Tactical Warsuit, kind of like the Vanguard Space Marine version of the Dreadnought, except you don't need to be dead, or mostly dead, to be in the Warsuit. It's actually got a living pilot who can get out. Supposedly specialised for stealth. Obviously something that big is also very sneaky. Not as durable as a regular Dreadnought, but it provides fire support to the more lightly armed Vanguard Marines. And we've got the backstory here of the makings of a Silver Templar, so it goes into sort of what the life is like on Navaris and the selection process the locals undergo when they're chosen to become a Silver Templar, and the kind of training they have to go through and that sort of thing. And also mentions some of the named members of the Silver Templars, like the High Oath Keeper Hecaton, the head chaplain, that sort of thing. And here we've got some more forces of the Eldari. These are the Inari. So these Eldar worship, or they follow Iniad, the Eldar god of the dead. And they believe that eventually Iniad will be reawakened and will defeat Slaanesh. By absorbing the souls of dead Eldar, they'll be able to starve Slaanesh out of existence. And then the Inari themselves are really only 3 people. You've got the Visarch Ivrain. So there's the Visarch here, and there's Ivrain on the previous page. You can see her there in her dress. And the Incarn, the sort of energy being. So those are the actual Inari, and then Craft World Eldar and Dark Eldar also make up their forces. And there's a couple you can see here. There's several named Eldar, like Eldrad Ulthron and Jane Zar. But that's all of the sort of lore and background. And the build guide for the Repulsor is coming up in a further issue. So we'll get into our battle for this issue, and we've actually got some more rules to learn about.
So, on to our mission for this issue, and before we get into it, we have to learn about relics. Relics are essentially special items of war gear that you can give to your characters, as it's explained here, at least for the Space Marines. If your army is led by an Ultramarines Warlord, or Silver Templars in our case, then before the battle you can give one of your characters one of these things. It also mentions that named characters can't take one, and it mentions Lieutenant Cassius, so he cannot have a relic, apparently. You choose relics at the start of the game, like you would with psychic powers, and it says you note them on your roster. Sometimes relics replace existing equipment, in which case you don't have to pay any cost for it, but it just replaces the existing item. I should also point out that these relics for the Space Marines are from the old codex, like all the rules we've been getting, so some of these are different in the codex you can actually buy, but go by the rules as given in the magazine, so we're using what's here. So for the Space Marines we have the Armour Indomitus, which gives the character a 2+ armour save, and then once per battle you can have a 3+ invulnerable save for the remainder of a turn, once you've activated it. We have the Standard of the Emperor Ascendant. This is for the Primaris Ancient. It can be taken by other models, but we don't have those. It has 2 effects. Nearby Adeptus Astartes units automatically pass morale tests, and enemy units have -1 to their leadership within the same distance. And also when rolling to see if a dead Space Marine model can fight or shoot again, then you can have +1 to the roll, so it effectively makes them do that on a 3+. The Tome of Malcador is for Psycho only, so it's the Librarian. It just gives him an extra psychic power. Primarch's Wrath is a gun, and you can see its profile there. Unfortunately, it can only be used by a model with a bolt gun or mastercrafted bolt gun, and it replaces it. But we don't get any models or characters with bolt guns or mastercrafted bolt guns with the magazine, so we can't use that one, unfortunately. And the Burning Blade, this replaces a power sword or mastercrafted power sword, and you can just see its profile there. It's fairly straightforward. +2 strength, -5 AP, 1 damage. And finally we have the Sanctic Halo, which as you can see can only be taken by a captain, but it gives him a 3+ invulnerable save, and he can try and deny a psychic power in each enemy psychic phase as though he were a Psycho. Technically this is an Ultramarine specific relic, but in that case obviously we're going to let the Silver Templars use it, because in the old codex when these rules existed that was how you did this. It's a little bit different now, but it's not relevant for how the magazine presents everything. And then on over the page, we've just got some examples of how the Armour Indomitus and the Standard of the Emperor Ascendant work. See those if we choose to use them. And then the Death Guard obviously gets some relics as well, and the same procedure applies. You can give it to a character if you have a Death Guard Warlord, and named characters like Typhus can't have any relics. So we've got Plague Bringer. This replaces a Plague Knife, Bale Sword or Power Sword, AP-2, D3 damage, and wound rolls of 6+, inflict a mortal wound in addition, so that might stack well with some other effects the Death Guard have. The Suppurating Plate. This gives the bearer a save characteristic of 2+, and every time they pass the saving throw in the fight phase, armour or invulnerable save, on a 4+, the unit that inflicted the wound suffers a mortal wound after its attacks have been resolved. Then over the page, the Pandemic Staff. It can be given to a Psyker, so the Malignant Plague caster can add +1 to the Psychic test when manifesting Smite. Dolorous Knell can be given to the Noxious Blightbringer. At the start of each morale phase, enemy units within 7 inches, on a 6 they suffer a mortal wound. When taking morale tests within 7 inches of the bearer, they have to roll 2 dice and discard the lowest result. So that obviously stacks nicely with his generic effect anyway, that reducing enemy leadership. Fugaris' Helm, very simple, the wearer increases the range of any aura abilities by 3 inches, so that can improve some characters. And finally, the Plague Skull of Glottila, which is a single-shot grenade. You can use it once per battle. It doesn't have any strength, AP, or damage. If it hits, you roll a dice for every model in the unit that is hit, re-rolling 1s, and they suffer mortal wounds on 6s. And then at the bottom, we've got an example to demonstrate how the Suppurating Plate works. And now we're on to our mission. Korvon II is in complete chaos. There's Death Guard, there's poxwalkers everywhere, and many of the cities have been destroyed or overrun. And there's a bit of a medical crisis. There's lots of sickness and disease going around, and there isn't enough supplies to deal with all this. So the Space Marines are trying to find some medical supplies, and to do so they need to make a raid on a medical facility just east of Alistranda. The Death Guard are patrolling the route to the facility, and the Space Marines have to fight their way through. And Death Guard, if they can capture the medical supplies, will simply destroy them to stop the Space Marines getting them. The mission itself is actually fairly straightforward. We start on the shortboard edges, as you can see on the map, the deployment zones like that, and there's an objective on the intersection of the maps, a third and 2/3 of the way onto the board, as it were. We need battle-forged armies of 50 power, but with no restrictions. Roll off to choose our deployment zones, then alternate deploying units, and then whoever finishes setting up first goes first. And straightforward victory points. There's a point for eliminating enemy units, a point for first blood, for slay the warlord, and a victory point for controlling an objective marker at the end of the game, and it lasts for 5 battle rounds. So with that, we'll have a look at the armies and then the battlefield, and then get straight into our game. So here is our 50 power of Space Marines. We've got at the front 3 HQ choices. We've got the captain in Gravis armour, the librarian, and a lieutenant with the auto-bolt rifles. Then 3 troops units, 2 squads of 5 intercessors, and the usual scouts with sniper rifles and the missile launcher. So that will make the battalion detachment, obviously. And then for extra choices at the back, 5 Hellblasters and Landspeeder with multi-melter and missile launchers after its brief voyage into using other weapons in a previous game.
This army, I'm basically just not going to try and get the Death Guard objective. We're going to capture the nearest one and then try and shoot more Death Guard than they shoot of us, basically. So the captain will be my warlord, and I'm going to give him Storm of Fire. I'm also going to give him the Sanctus Halo relic, the Ultramarine specific one that gives him a 3+ invulnerable save, and gives him a Deny the Witch test as well. You know that the Death Guard pretty much have to bring a Psyker, so it'd be helpful to not get smited. And the Librarian, his psychic powers are going to be Might of Heroes and Null Zone. I'm going to take Null Zone because I've kind of forgotten about it. I mean, I haven't actually used it before, mainly because it's warp charge value of 8, so it's quite hard to cast. But we've got command points now, so we might be able to actually use it. Basically, it's to counter the Lord of Contagion. You'll get rid of his invulnerable save, so it makes him a little bit easier to deal with.
And here's 50 power of Death Guard. So again, we have a battalion detachment. 2 HQ at the front, a Lord of Contagion and a Malignant Plaguecaster, because there aren't really that many more choices. Then 2 squads of 5 Plague Marines, the usual Blight Launchers, Plasma Guns, Champions, Plasma Gun, Power Fists, unit of 10 Poxwalkers. 2 elites at the front here. We've got the Noxious Blightbringer on the left and the Foul Blight Spawn on the right. Dedicated transport will be the Chaos Rhino because I have to capture objectives, and the Mythic Blight Hauler at the back for a bit of mobile cover and anti-tank firepower. Yeah, as I said, we need to capture objectives in this game, so that's what the Rhino and the Noxious Blightbringer are here for. To help the Noxious Blightbringer with this, I'm going to give him a relic, which will be Fugaris' Helm, which increases the range of his aura abilities, which in this case is his one that makes people run faster, so that will make it a 10-inch aura, which is quite useful. My warlord will be Lord Gangrous. He's going to have the Rotten Constitution for his warlord trait, which reduces all damage he takes by 1 to a minimum of 1. We haven't seen that one in a while, it's quite useful. And Malignant Playcaster's Psychic Powers. Go for the ever useful Miasma of Pestilence. But we're going to go for Gift of Contagion this time. Partly because I didn't think any of the other Psychic Powers would be that useful in this game, but also because we don't see it very often and it might be interesting. So here's our battlefield. We've got the Mechanicus board in the centre with 2 Hemotrope reactors, as you can see in the crane on the far side. There's 2 objectives on the intersections of the boards. So over here by the spaceport board, we've got sort of medical robot thingy. We've got some containers and an area control in the corner and a server hauler. And over on the other side we have the city board. The objective there is 2 ammo crates. These are the ones from the objective set, not the normal ones, so they won't count as ammo crates. And then we've got the alchemite stack up there, and pipe stuff. And then down here 2 thermic plasma regulators and some more area terrain. We rolled off to pick our deployment zones, which are on the short edges of the board. The Space Marines 1, so this is a deployment.
Yeah, so we've got the 2 intercessors. Well, start at this end, we've got an intercessor squad, got the land speeder. It's out of line of sight of the Blight Hauler at the moment. Another intercessor squad, 3 characters and the Hellblasters in that area terrain. And then I've used the concealed positions to deploy the scouts behind this servo hauler. And they've got some ammo boxes to use as well.
And so obviously the Death Guard have deployed the other end. So Lord Gangrous is in the teleportarium. Then we've got the Rhino in the middle, which has in it the squad of Plague Marines with the Plasma Gun and the Icon. Also has the 3 characters, which is the Plaguecaster, the Noxus Blightbringer, and the Foul Blight Spawn. And the Poxwalkers are lined up next to it, and there's the Lymphatic Blight Hauler. And then down here in the corner, the other squad of 5 Plague Marines with the Blight Launchers. Because we both have battalion detachments, we both have 6 command points, so just once again a reminder that the magazine gets it wrong. It should be 5 command points for a battalion, not 3, but that's what it says. The Death Guard finish deploying first, which means they go first, so we'll be on to Death Guard, turn 1. In my movement phase, the order I do this is going to be important. So the first thing that's going to happen is the Noxus Blightbringer is going to get out of the Rhino within 3 inches of it. Then he is now within 10 inches of all of these units, and because he has the relic that increases his aura by 3 inches, you have a 10-inch range of advancing better, so we'll advance Plague Marines down here. We're rolling 2 dice, picking the best, so they get a 5, and we'll do the Poxwalkers at the same time, just because they're there. They get a 4. So the Plague Marines get to there, and the Poxwalkers to there. Now the Rhino will advance. It gets to go 6. Now the Blightspawn himself will advance. Going 6. So that brings the Rhino up to there, to basically park itself on top of the objective. The Blightbringer is behind it with his advance move, and then the Blight Horror is moved up behind the 2, and it's within range of the ammo box. We won't bring Gangrous down at this stage. There's no psychic phase because the Plaguecaster is inside the Rhino, so we'll be on to the shooting phase. There's only 2 things to happen in the shooting phase. The first is the Rhino will fire its smoke launchers, and then the second thing is that the Blight Hauler will fire a crack missile all the way over here at the Hellblasters. You can't see the land speeder, incidentally. So 1 crack missile hitting on 4 rerolling 1s. That's a 4, so winning on 2. That's a wound, but they are in area cover.
4 plus save, made it.
So that's it for Death Guard turn 1, on to Space Marines turn 1.
The 2 intercessor squads and 3 characters are all going to advance. The Hellblaster just moved up to the edge of that area cover. So generally we've all just sort of moved up. This intercessor squad came through boxes, so moved up with the characters behind, and the land speeder zoomed across so that it can actually see the Blight Hauler, because the Rhino is in the way otherwise. So we're going to skip the psychic phase. Null zone's far too out of range, and I could put Might of Heroes on the land speeder to make it toughness 6, but it's probably not going to be worth it, so straight to the shooting phase. So I'll start shooting with the scouts. These 3 snipers on the end can all see a Plague Marine, so they'll shoot at them. The missile launcher and the other sniper, they're going to shoot at the Rhino. Got the 3 sniper shots on the Plague Marines, hitting on 3s, rolling 1s. Another 1, that's 3 hits. Wounding on 5s, rolling 1s. Nothing. And then the sniper at the Rhino, hitting on 4, rolling 1s. Nope. And the missile launcher firing a crack missile, rolling 1s. That's a hit on a 4, wounding on a 3, rolling 1s. Come on. That's a wound.
AP minus 2, so 5 plus. Nope.
D6 damage, unless you want to reroll it.
So 2 damage in total.
And finally, the land speeder is the only other thing in range. It's going to shoot at the Blight Hauler with its crack missiles. So we've got 2 shots hitting on 4s, rolling 1s. I'm actually going to spend a command point to re-roll that 3. Nope. Wounding on a 3, re-rolling 1s. That's a wound.
5 plus save again. Nope. No, I won't re-roll that.
D6 damage. 6.
So 6 disgusting resilient rolls. Made 2, so take down to 4 wounds. But that's it, nothing else is actually in range. So we've gone to Death Guard, turn 2. In my movement phase, the Plague Marine squad that was in the Rhino have got out and moved themselves over here. And the Plaguecaster has also got out. He's going to advance, and he is within range of the Blightbringer thanks to his relic. So 2d6 picking the best. The best is 3. So that's enough to get him over there, which is in cover from those armor boxes. And then the Rhino will advance, as will the Blightbringer. So the Rhino goes an extra 5, and the Blightbringer an extra 3. So Rhino gets to there. The Foul Blight's one is still inside, obviously, but we actually forgot at the start of the turn it should potentially have regained a wound, so we'll just roll for that now. So needing a 6. Oh, it did.
Up to 9.
And the Blightbringer and the Blight Hauler have moved up to here, like this, and I've used Cloud of Flies on these Plague Marines for a command point so they can't be shot at. Finally, the Poxwalkers over here will advance, as will these Plague Marines over here, and they are within 10 inches of the Blightbringer. So we're on for the Poxwalkers, they get to go an extra 5, and the Plague Marines 2 dice, also an extra 5. That gets the Poxwalkers to there, well, their job is basically to hold the objective, and the Plague Marines to here, not quite into cover. And with that we'll be on to the Psychic phase. Just about within 18 inches of the Scouts, so we'll try for a Smite. Needing 5, getting an 8.
So I'll try and deny that as well because I've got 2. So needing a 9. Nope. I'm going to spend a command point to reroll that 3 just in case. Nope.
Smite does go off. D3 mortal wounds. 2. And then you'll try and use Miasma Pestilence on the Rhino. Needing a 6. Getting it with a 9.
Well, I'm going to try and deny that as well, but I need a 10.
No.
Well, I got a 2, so in the box, so no.
On to the shooting phase, we'll start with the Blight Hauler. The Melting Melter is not in range, but it will put a missile launcher into the Land Speeder. One shot hitting on a 4, not close to an arrow box, unfortunately. That's the minute hit. It wins on a 3. Yes.
5 plus armor save. Nope.
You re-roll it.
Yep. Nope.
D6 damage. 2. It's down to 4. The only other shooting I have is these Plague Marines, because everybody else advanced or is not in range. They'll put their plasma guns into the Land Speeder, and we'll put the bolt guns into the Scouts. Nobody's in rapid fire range, so the plasma guns will supercharge at the Land Speeder. We'll start with the man who isn't the champion. He rerolls once because of an ammo box. He hit. I'll do the champion's hit roll as well, so that hit as well. Wounding on 3s. That's 2 wounds.
6 plus. Oh, I made 1.
Ah, so he does live with 2 wounds left. And then 3 shots at the bolt guns at the Scouts. On 3s, rerolling 1s. That's 3 hits. Wounding on 4s. That's 2 wounds.
2 plus saves because we've got cover from the crane. It's
Yeah.
2 saves.
They're fine. But that's it for my turn because there's no charging or anything. So on to Space Marines turn 2.
So we've done my movement. Everyone's just moved up. Well, the Scouts and Land Speeder are going to stay where they are, and everyone else has just moved up normally. The Intercessors to sort of form a line. Librarian behind are the 2 characters, so their aura affects everyone. Hellblasters are actually going to move out of the cover so that they can get into range of the Plague Marine squad with the Blight launchers. But then it'll be on to the Psychic phase. Start the Psychic phase off, going to start with Smite. So if it manifests, it will hit the Rhino because it's the closest target. Needing a 5. Trying to re-roll that 1. Re-rolling that 1. Into a 6, so I've got a 9.
Right. I will try and deny that with the Plaguecaster, so needing a 10. Getting an 11, so no Smite.
I'll try and cast Might of Heroes on the Land Speeder. Needing a 6.
Getting your perils.
Now I'll just take the wounds.
Okay, D3.
2. And now the Librarian's down to 3 wounds, and it's on to the shooting phase. I'll start with the Land Speeder. It's going to put all of its guns into the Rhino. Start with the Multi-Melter. Hitting on a 4 because of Miasma Pestilence. Rerolling 1s, that's a hit. Wounding on a 3, rerolling 1s. I'll reroll that.
Okay.
Into a wound.
Okay, now I'll say.
D6 damage. 5.
Rhino's down to 4.
And the 2 crack missiles hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s. Ooh. 1 hit. Wounds on a 3, rerolling 1s. No, so 2. Oh, I need to kill it. No. The Scouts will go next. So the 2 snipers will shoot at the Plaguecaster because they can just about see him. And the missile launcher will shoot at the Rhino. So 2 snipers hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s. Rerolling the 1. 2 hits. Wounding on 5s, rerolling 1s. Rerolling the 1. So it's 1 wound.
He does have cover because he's behind the ammo boxes, so 2 plus save, yeah, he's fine.
And the missile launcher hitting on 4. No. So the Hellblasters are going to shoot at the Plague Marine squad with the Blight launchers. We are going to overcharge, so starting with the Sergeant. Rerolling 1s. Sarge gets a hit. Another Hellblaster. Hit. Hit. Rerolling the 1. Hit. And hit, so 5 hits. Wounding on 3s, rerolling 1s. 5 wounds.
Okay, they're not in cover because they didn't quite get far enough. So this is 2 damage each. So 1 at a time. We've got dead, 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 Dead. And... oh, the last one lives. So just the champion left alive from that Blade Marine squad.
So I'm going to do the lieutenant next. He's going to shoot his auto bolt rifle at the rhino just in case he manages to kill it. So he's got 2 shots hitting on 4s. Rerolling 1s. He hits. Wounds on a 5. Rerolling 1s. Nope. The librarian will shoot his bolt pistol at the rhino as well, hitting on a 4. We hit. Wounds on 5. Nope. I started this squad. They're going to shoot the rhino. 10 shots hitting on 4s. Rerolling 1s.
6 hits.
6 hits. Wounding on 5s, you're rolling 1s.
Wow.
Look at all them 4s. Wow. And I'll do the other intercessor squad at the same target. 10 shots hitting on 4s. 7 hits. Wounding on 5s. 1 wound.
-2 because Storm of
Oh,
Fire.
-2, yes. So I finally rolled a 6.
And I passed my save though. This champion over here would have to take a morale test. I'm actually going to spend 2 command points to have him automatically pass with the insane bravery stratagem, because if he dies he's worth a victory point for first blood and 1 for destroying a unit, so I'm going to 2 command points for 2 victory points saved basically. That brings me down to 3, and we're on to Death Guard, turn 3. First of all, the Rhino might self-repair again on 6. No. In the movement phase, the Foul Blightspawn got out the Rhino and he's come over here to bring the Hellblasters in range over here. The Rhino itself moved up. And the Bladecaster moved out from behind his ammo boxes to get a little bit closer. Then in the middle, the Blade Marine squad with the plasma guns have moved out, but there's still someone back with the ammo boxes, and Whitehall moved up, and the lone champion with the plasma gun also moved over here to use these ammo boxes. Poxhawk has moved to surround the objective over there, and the Blightbringer that's going to advance. He gets to go an extra 4 inches. And at the end of the movement phase, Lord Gangrus is going to teleport down here behind the Rhino, and we'll be on to the Psychic phase. We'll try and do Gift of Contagion first, because we don't see it very often. We'll try it on the squad of intercessors in the middle, along with the sergeant with the red helmet. This actually needs a 7 to go off, which I've got.
So I'm going to use the Captain's Deny the Witch, because the librarian is within 12 inches, and I might want to deny a smite. So I need an 8. Oh, God, a 7. So nope.
So I roll a d3, and then we can sort the chart. That is a 2. That is muscular atrophy, so those intercessors are at -1 strength. And now we'll just do a smite, needing a 5. Yeah, just about getting a 5.
So I'll try and deny the smite with the librarian, also needing a 5 because I get +1 from my psychic hood. And I get it with an 8.
On to the shooting phase. We will start with the Foul Blightspawn, who's going to shoot at the Hellblasters. So strength of his weapon is 2d6, 5. I'll stick with that. D6 automatic hits, 5. These wound on 3s, rerolling 1s. That's 4, rerolling that 1. Oh, well, it's on the top, but yes, that's 5 wounds.
6 plus on saves. We're all dead.
No, that's 5 dead Hellblasters.
So that's a victory point for destroying a unit and a victory point for first blood.
We'll do the Rhino next. It'll shoot at the scouts because they have 1 wound each. We'll Havoc Launcher, d6 shots, 5. Hitting on 5s because its ballistic skill has gone down in the damage, and it moved. 2 hits. Wounding on 3s, 2 wounds.
2 plus saves. Made both.
And the Combi Bolter hitting on 4s because it's a rapid fire weapon. 2 hits. Wounding on 4s, nothing. We'll do the Blight Hauler next. It'll put both its guns into the Land Speeder. Multi-Melter hitting on 4. Nope. Missile Launcher hitting on 4. Crack Missile. Nope. We'll do the big squad of Plague Marines next. We'll put the Plasma Guns into the Land Speeder, and the Bolt Guns will go in the Scouts. Yeah. I won't supercharge the Plasma Guns because it's got 2 wounds left and the wound roll isn't any different. So 4 shots hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s. They all hit. Wounding on 3s. 3 wounds.
3, 6 plus saves. No.
It goes down. Does it explode?
No.
No, sorry, it was up there, but 3, yeah. And 2 of the bot guns are in rapid fire, so 5 shots hitting on 3s. Scouts, 3 hits. Wounding on 4s. 1.
2 plus. Yes.
This lone plague champion over here is in range of these intercessors, so we'll shoot them. 1 plasma gun shot supercharged on 3, rerolling 1s. It hit. Wounds on 2. It did.
6 plus. Nope.
Dead intercessor. And finally the Plaguecaster's bolt pistol. He'll just shoot at the 5 intercessors in front of him. Hitting on 3, rerolling 1s. That's a hit. Wounding on 4. That's a wound.
3 plus on save. Made it.
On to the charge phase. The Rhino will charge the squad of intercessors that took a casualty. The one to the middle.
We'll overwatch for the crack grenade and bolt rifles. Crack grenade hitting on a 6, rerolling 1s. Ooh. Nope. 6 bolt rifle shots. Oh, rerolling the 1. Oh, into a hit. Wounding on 5s. The 1s. No.
Then the Rhino's charge distance is a 7. So it will end up like that. And then Lord Gangrel will charge the same squad of intercessors. He obviously needs a 9. He's got a 7. No, I won't spend a command point for that. The Rhino in the charge phase will pile into the other intercessors, and then it will attack the ones it charged. D3 attacks because it's wounded. 3. Hitting on 6s.
So I'll start with the intercessor squad that's down to strength 3 because they only wound on 6s. They have 9 attacks, hitting on 3s or on 1s. 8 hits, wounding on 6s. Well, of course they get 4 wounds now.
4 3+ armor saves. Failed 2, so it's down to 2 wounds.
And then the other squad have 11 attacks. They got 9 hits, wounding on 5s or on 1s. Once again, they're better with their fists than their actual guns. You get 2 wounds.
2 3+ saves. Down to 1 wound. Well, that'll be it for Death Guard turn 3. So we're on to Space Marines turn 3.
So in my movement phase, we're just going to stay where we are, because if we can kill that Rhino, we can shoot everything at the Foul Blight spawn, and then we'll deal with the rest of the Death Guard the next turn. So on to the Psychic phase. We'll start with Smite, needing a 5, getting an 11.
I'm not going to try and deny that because I need a 12, so...
D6 mortal wounds, it dies.
I can spend a command point for Putrid Detonation, which makes it automatically blow up, so everything within 6 inches is going to take D3 mortal wounds. So full strength intercessor squad, 1. D3 for the wound, 1. The Librarian, 2, so he's still alive on 1 wound. Lieutenant, 3 wounds. The Scouts, 2. And the Captain, 2. And Foul Blight Spawn as well. He's also within 6. He takes 2 wounds, disgustingly resilient. Well, he takes 1.
Well, I'm not going to bother casting any more psychic powers in case I blow myself up. So on to the shooting phase. Start with the Scout and the missile launcher. He'll fire a crack missile at the Foul Blight Spawn. Hitting on a 3, rolling 1s. That's a hit. Wounding on a 3, rolling 1s. That's a wound.
5+ save. No. Went on.
D6 damage. 1.
Disgustingly resilient. No, he takes a wound. So that means he's down to 2.
So the smaller intercessor squad's going to shoot the Foul Blight Spawn. So one lad will throw a grenade, and the others will fire their bolt rifles. Crack grenade, hitting on a 3, rolling 1s. Hits. Wounding on a 3, rolling 1s. Wounds.
4+ save. No.
D3 damage. 3.
Oh, disgustingly resilient. Oh, he takes 2 wounds and he dies. So that's another victory point for the Space Marines, putting him up to 2.
So this intercessor squad's going to shoot at the Malignant Plague Caster. 10 shots, hitting on 3s, rolling 1s. That's 9 hits. Wounding on 5s, rolling 1s. Reroll that 1. 4 wounds, so that's 1 at AP minus 2 and 3 at AP minus 1.
It's behind a pipe thingy, so technically they're dangerous cover. So these are at AP minus 1, so these will be 3 pluses. So he failed one of those, and then the one at AP minus 2 will be a 4+, which he made, but with a 6. So on a 1 he takes a mortal wound. No, so just disgustingly resilient for the one that went through, which he made.
So the Librarian will shoot his pistol at him. Hitting on a 3, rolling 1s, he hits. Hitting on a 5, or wounds at AP minus 1. With
cover, that's a 3+, which I've made, but again, might take a mortal wound on rolls 1. No, is it right?
And then the Lieutenant will shoot at him as well.
Gangrel is closer, but characters don't block characters, so you can still shoot him.
2 shots hitting on. He always gets a 1, 2 hits. Moving on 5s, new. And that's it for my shooting.
So on to Death Guard, turn 4. So here's my movement. Lord Gangris has moved out the front. He's probably going to charge some stuff. The Playcaster is staying roughly where he is. The Blight Horror has moved up to there to get near those ammo boxes. And the Squad of Plague Marines, the Plasma Guns, and the Blightbringer have moved up normally. The remaining champion over here just moved forward a little bit, and the Poxwalkers will stay where they are. So we'll go on to the Psychic phase. We'll go for a Smite first, needing a 5. Getting it with a 10.
Well, I might as well try and deny that. I'll use the Librarian's deny, so I need a 10 as well. Nope.
So D3 mortal wounds to some intercessors, 2. So intercessor goes down, and then we'll try and put Gift of Contagion on the same intercessors that we did last turn. Needing a 7. Got it with a 7.
Might as well try and deny that with the Captain. Needing an 8. Nope.
So rolling on the chart again. That's a 3 this time. That is -1 toughness to those intercessors. On to the shooting phase. We'll do the Blight Horror first, I think. And we'll shoot the further squad of intercessors over here. We'll start with the Bile Spurt because there's actually a guy on a wound, so D3 shots, 2, hitting on 4s, 3 rolling 1s, that's 1 hit, and 2 hits. Wounding on 3s, 3 rolling 1s, that's 2 wounds.
4+ armor saves, maybe on Korvon.
So the wounded intercessor dies. We'll do the multi-melter on a 4, nope, and crack missile on a 4, nope. We'll shoot this Plague Marine squad at the same intercessors next. 4 plasma gun shots, we won't supercharge. 3s, 2 hits, wounding on 3s. Only 1.
6 plus.
Oh, wait. And 6 shots with bolt guns on 3s. 4 hits. Wounding on 4s. 2.
Big both.
The lone champion over here will shoot a single supercharged plasma gun shot at them. Hitting on a 3, re-rolling 1s. That's a hit. Wounding on a 2. That's a wound.
6 plus. No.
So another intercessor. We'll do a non-supercharged plasma pistol from the Blightbringer, hitting on a 3. No. And the Plaguecaster's bolt pistol on a 3. Re-rolling 1s because he is near the ammo box. No. On to the charge phase, and Gangrus will declare a charge against... He'll declare all of the intercessors and the librarians.
So we'll start with a crap grenade from the nearest squad, hitting on a 6, rerolling 1s. No. We'll do all the bolt rifles next. 12 shots, hitting on 6s, rerolling 1s. 4 hits, blimey. Wounding on 5s, rerolling 1s. Ugh. 1.
1 wound, but with Storm of Fire, so this is a 3 plus... No, this is a 4 plus armor save, which you've made.
And then the librarian's bolt pistol. Hits. Doesn't wound.
And then his charge roll is a 7. These Plague Marines here will charge the squad of intercessors closer to them as well. Rolling their charge. They've rolled a 4, that won't be enough, so they'll stay where they are. The Blightbringer will have a go as well. He needs a 9. He has not got a 9. The Blighthauler will have a go as well. We'll charge both squads of intercessors. That's rolled a 9, which I think is enough. That gets to there, which is... we'll move the objective out of the way, but obviously we know where it's supposed to be. And Plaguecaster might as well have a go on these intercessors as well. 8 is probably not enough.
At the end of the charge phase, the librarian will heroically intervene, because Gangrus is going to pile in into him anyway.
We'll actually start with the Blighthauler. He'll put his attacks on the intercessors. 3 attacks hitting on the 4s. 1 hit. Wounding on the 2 though, because they're down to toughness 3. Strength 6, that's a wound.
5 plus. Nope.
So the wounded intercessor does die. And then Lord Gangrus will put 2 attacks on the librarian and 2 on the larger squad of intercessors that the Blighthauler just attacked. So 2 attacks on the librarian, hitting on 2s. 2 hits, wounding on 3, 3 rolling 1s. 2 wounds.
6s. Nope.
So the librarian dies. I'm going to spend a command point for Chaos Boon, because he's killed an enemy character. So I roll 2d6, and that's the result we get. 9. So that is plus iron encrustments. Add 1 to all saving throws for the character. That's not bad. And then his 2 attacks on the intercessors on 2s. They both hit. Wounding on 2s, because again they're down to toughness 3. 2 wounds.
6 plus.
No.
2 dead. Yeah, I'm just going to concede at that point, not going to bother doing my hitbacks. Don't fancy trying to take on Gangrus with a 3 plus invulnerable save, so he's got the Warlord trait that makes him half damage taken as well, or -1 to damage taken, whatever it is.
So just to give you an overview, it's currently 4 victory points to 2 for the Death Guard, but they're likely to end up holding at least 1 objective. The Space Marines might be able to kill some units, but Gangrus isn't likely to go down, and the captain would have to put himself in danger's way. So it'll definitely be a Death Guard victory, and we'll recap all of that for you now. So that was the mission from issue 75 of Warhammer 40,000 Conquest. How do you think that went?
Yeah, not very well. I don't think I played particularly well. Probably should have fallen back from the Rhino. To be fair, William did offer me the chance, so that was after it had blown up. I didn't realise it was a D3 mortal wounds. To be fair, I should have known that about. Having played against it enough, I should know its rules by now, but I think it probably would have just been delaying the inevitable return, because I would have had to abandon that objective. I probably didn't spend my command points very efficiently, but spending all 3 rolls so early, but every turn my priorities were changing and I wasn't able to deal with it. Wasn't able to deal enough damage to deal with them, unfortunately. I think not killing the Rhino kind of sealed the deal.
Well, the Foul Blight Spawn took out your entire Hellblaster squad in one shot.
So. And if I'd killed the Rhino a turn earlier, he would have been in the open. Then I could at least have shot at him and potentially charged him to time up. A few issues ago, the issue where we got the crane, I think, is we basically played the same mission. You didn't hub the Rhino, so I was able to just pick you away as you came up the board. I think, like the crane mission, for the supposedly vital medical supplies are only worth 1 victory point, which seems a bit weird to me. It should be worth at least 2. It's kind of there. I mean, it's just a straight-up death match, basically.
Yeah, the side that's likely to win this game is the one that kills more stuff.
Yeah, like if you hadn't spent those 2 command points to get first blood, I would have been, 4-3 at least? I mean, you would have been on the back foot straight away. And then if I dealt with the Rhino in the same turn, and potentially the Foul Blight Spawn, you would have been in a pretty bad situation.
But I think that's the problem that we've had with a lot of missions in the magazine, is that you can just ignore the objectives and blow the enemy army away and then just walk on to them at the end of the game. And
then it's the same problem I have building my army, is that because it's so far for me to go, and it's the usual, my mobile units aren't durable enough or have enough firepower to actually attack your objective, so there's no point actually going for it. So I might as well just sit in my third of the board and try and shoot at you.
Yeah, and it's this weird irony that the Death Guard army that you get with this magazine is mostly faster than the Space Marines. I mean, granted, yes, as you say, you get bikes and Inceptors and the Land Speeder, but they don't last very long.
Yeah, the bikes aren't really that durable, and they're very expensive, and the Inceptors also the same thing.
And I suppose actually that was an option you would have had, is potentially drop the Inceptors and the Terminator Captain in my back lines. That would have made me play differently, but equally, it would have meant that what was on the board at the beginning would have had to live.
And also that would have cost 18 power to do that. And considering that my battalion detachment at minimum costs 26, that's basically the rest of my army. And unfortunately you didn't get to see me try Null Zone. Mainly it would just be to take out Gangrus, and kind of neglected Null Zone because it's so hard to cast with these rules. It's Warp Charge 8, it's Warp Charge 7 in the new Codex at least. But now that we've got command points, it's actually potentially worth using. But well, at least we got to see Chaos Boon used at last.
We did, and he didn't turn himself into a Demon Prince or a Chaos Spawn. But I guess we could talk about relics. We did see yours come up because you did...
Yeah, I did use the Deny. It didn't work very well, but I mean, potentially the Death Guard could have 2 Psychers as well, so... I do think it is one of the better relics.
Especially good for the Gravis Captain, because it really means he could potentially stand up to the Lord of Contagion. It's also the Ultramarine specific relic, which in the new one is actually in a separate book.
Yeah, because technically with the new rules, the Silver Templars would have to spend a command point and a stratagem to use the Ultramarines relic, but we're still using the old rules. Apart from the Terminator Captain, 3+ invulnerable save is going to be an upgrade. And then got the Armor Indomitus, which is, it's another thing that's potentially useful for pretty much all the characters, except for the Captain in Terminator armor, because he already has a 3+ save. It's probably more useful for the characters without invulnerable saves, like the Librarian. Then you've got the Sound of the Emperor Ascendant, again the old version of it, which again is quite handy. It's handy to have if you have lots of Hell Blasters and things, just makes them, you're more likely to get them back and get cheeky shots off.
It's good for a certain kind of army where you have a huge lump of Hell Blasters and stuff, and it
in the new Codex, it doesn't give you +1 to the roll. Instead, it has a 9-inch range for its aura. Well, I mean, you've got Hell Blasters and Intercessors to use it with, so I might take that in a later game. And then the Primarch's Wrath, I mean, I guess it's okay. It's a bolt gun with +1 strength, AP -1, 2 damage. But you can't actually use this one, because none of the characters you're given in the magazine have a bolt gun or mastercrafted bolt gun.
But when they put relics like that in the book, you just do wonder whether they actually really know what is in the collection.
But looking at the other relics that are available in the old Codex, I don't think there would actually be enough relics that would be relevant anyway to give us 6 each.
Maybe not.
Because, I mean, I think the only other relics available would be there's a chainsword and a shield, but none of those would be relevant either.
Yeah, maybe it's because they expect people to have bought other things for their collection.
Yeah, I mean,
so it's just you have those rules.
It's nice to know about it. If you buy a regular captain who does come with a mastercrafted bolt gun, you could give him that.
Yeah.
And then the Tome of Malkador, an extra psychic power.
You can only cast 2.
Yeah, I mean, you can already only cast 2, and you already have 3, so having an extra one's not really that handy, I don't think.
I suppose it's conceivable you might want 3 in a game, but...
I guess it gives him a bit more flexibility, but I mean, you're choosing that over one of the other relics, like a 3+ invulnerable save on your captain. And then the Burning Blade, kind of thing. So AP -5 is something that's good with... if you combine that with Null Zone, that does mean a Lord of Contagion doesn't have a save at all. It's a good upgrade for the regular Primaris Captain or the Lieutenants with Power Swords. But the Gravis Captain, his sword actually does 2 damage.
And even if you gave it to the Captain in Gravis armour, his Boltstorm Gauntlet is still arguably slightly better because it does multiple damage. It's quite good against things that aren't Lords of Contagion. I mean, my characters and Plague Marines, no armour save for them, and it gives them... And the +2 strength means you're winning on 3s rather than 5, which is obviously a big thing that they struggle with, is the toughness 5. It would make someone like a Lieutenant able to go through a squad of Plague Marines that normally he might want to avoid. Yeah,
that he would struggle with. But also in the new Codex, the Burning Blade is actually damage 2 and is +3 strength. Then it is actually a flat upgrade of the Mastercrafted Power Sword, which unfortunately at the moment it kind of isn't. But yeah, I mean, there's some that are alright. The Primarch's Wrath you can't use, and then the Tome of Malkador probably just wouldn't bother using, but the other 4, probably try and squeeze them into the remaining games we have.
And then for the Death Guard, obviously, Fulgaris' helm did come into effect. Having that extra 3 inches for him was useful, I suppose. That relic can be useful for nearly all of the Death Guard characters because they all have an aura of some description.
I don't know if it's immediately obvious, but it also applies to auras they gain from Warlord traits, so Arch Contaminator it applies to as well.
Yeah, so that would be really good to have a 10-inch range for that, or Living Plague, where it would be a 6-inch range of doing mortal wounds at the start of the fight phase, But I do think that one actually is quite useful for the Noctis Blightbringer, just simply because it means you can spread out a little bit more when you're advancing up the board and he can affect more people. As you saw in this game, really, he did allow me to move faster.
I'd say it'd be useful on things like the Foul Blight Swarm, so you can keep, or maybe the Tallyman as well, so you can keep them further away.
That's true, actually. The Tallyman, a 10-inch zone of re-rolling hits in melee would be quite useful because it means he doesn't have to necessarily charge into melee himself. But then other choices, I mean, he can take the Dolorous Knell, which is the big bell that improves him a bit.
Probably not that helpful against Space Marines.
No, it's only about as helpful as giving them -1 leadership in the first place.
Yeah.
I mean, you can stack it with things like the Icon of Despair and whatever, but all that requires you to have a lot of stuff in the same place, and then still they have to fail their morale check. So,
or particularly Ultramarines as well, since I already get +1 leadership built in.
the Plague Bringer, which is the sword, now that is quite good, and it stacks quite well with the Plague Surgeon because of his innate bonuses.
You stack it with Blades of Putrefaction, or it's just going to be spitting out mortal wounds all over the place.
Yeah. Won't go into that one now because I definitely want to try that one out in a game, so hopefully we'll see that combination. You can also technically give it to the Biologos Putrefier because he has a Plague Knife, making him able to do some damage in melee because it's D3, so it could go through Space Marines relatively easily. The Suppurating Plate, that's useful for everybody, even the Lords of Contagion with their 2+ save already. It just makes them in melee even more dangerous because if he makes his saves, he might bounce mortal wounds back at you, and nobody likes that. But it's also good, obviously, for the weaker characters because they suddenly have a 2+ armor save and a reason not to charge them in melee.
Yeah, I mean, he's putting it on like the Foul Blight Spawn just so his one weakness is being charged. Now you don't want to charge him.
Pandemic Staff, +1 to Smite. Obviously, that's the Playcaster only. I did roll a 10 in this game. That would have been an 11 if I'd taken that relic, so maybe more useful than it might look at first glance. Okay, we never know.
It would also make his extra mortal wound activate on 6 as well, I believe.
Oh, yes, that's true. Yeah, no, that's a very good point. So, yeah, it is quite good for him, so I might try that out again. And finally, the Plague Skull of Glothilla or whatever it is.
It's like
nearly completely useless. The biggest problem with it is for every model in the enemy unit, you roll a d6 and you're looking for 6s.
Against the Space Marines, especially with the magazine, my maximum squad size is probably going to be 5.
Chuck it in a big squad of 30 something or others, and you might get sort of 6 or 7 mortal wounds.
Even then,
it's not too bad.
Yeah, but even then, you could argue that a regular Blight Grenade would be about as effective. I mean, technically, you could give the Plague Skull to a Lord of Contagion, although I suppose just make their life harder, because if you actually kill anyone with it, your opponent will just take away models closest to Lord of Contagion to make his charge harder.
Yeah.
And it doesn't benefit things like the Biologos Putrefier or anything like that.
And ultimately, why would you take that over any of the other relics that are available? Yeah, the other one's just better.
I mean, there is stratagems in the full rules that let you take, I think you pay 1 command point for an extra relic in your army, and then 3 command points for 2 extra relics. Each character can only have 1 relic, so you can't combine relics. Unfortunately, that would be a bit too overpowered. But unfortunately, we don't get that stratagem with the magazine.
Yeah, and you can't give them to Typhus either.
And of course, Lieutenant Calcius is apparently a named character. I'm not sure what relic he has.
Because what does it? It says something like they already have 1 or more relics.
Yes.
Well, actually, no, he just has a normal sword and a normal pistol.
He's literally just a normal lieutenant. But yeah, it's just relics. Well, it's an extra bit of strategy, an extra bit, I guess, make different armies stand out.
Well, anyway, I think that's it for this issue, so if you enjoyed this content, please give it a like and subscribe. Let us know your thoughts, especially if you've had similar experiences with the game where the Space Marines just don't tend to do much damage. It'd be interesting to see what other people's results have been.
Yeah.
Even if you've just been playing with the models outside the missions of the magazine, it'd be interesting to know how people have been getting on. But we've been the Tabletop Donkeys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye for now.